All right, you mentioned the word tinker earlier. Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner, as he always does at the end of these quarterly league meetings, press conference to discuss some of the changes. Here he is on Tuesday afternoon talking about the new kickoff formation.
I think it's one of those things when you get it in play, you look at things and you will reevaluate that as the season's going on. And if it's appropriate to make changes in the future, we will. So I think it'll be a big improvement. I think it will bring the play back into, a relevant play, an important play, and an exciting play. And I think we can do it where the injury rate hopefully will drop.
Here's what. See, and it's not the injury rate won't drop. The injury rate in comparison to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
But the injury rate in comparison to what currently exists will increase because there weren't kick returns.
Zero. Right.
So they are welcoming more injuries, but they acknowledge, and again, they won't say this. They are acknowledging at a deeper level this is about the catastrophic injury potential from the high-speed collision. Now, here's what kind of makes me a little uncomfortable, but kind of makes me a little excited as somebody who loves some chaos. Just the idea that they acknowledge they're going to have to tinker with it. What that means is there's going to be a flaw. There's going to be an exhaust port in the Death Star that somebody potentially finds during the regular season. There's going to be an equivalent of the tush push that somebody, number one, spots, and number two, is good enough to exploit, and they're going to have to tinker with the rule. Well, first, what you got to do is rebuild the coalition of at least 24 to keep the rule, and then you're going to have to sell them on a new version of the rule with the tinkering, knowing that whoever benefits from the tinkering is going to say, I don't want the tinkering. I like it the way it is. It helped us get to the playoffs when we otherwise weren't good enough. So they are inviting the potential for mass chaos to descend on the NFL under the very innocuous word of tinker. What tinker? No, you know what? When your engine blows up, you're not tinkering with it. There's a potential, and that's what makes this kind of fun. Let's see what happens next for the NFL, which had to do this, but really didn't think it through and didn't play it out and didn't bump it to May where they could maybe understand a little bit better how and where and why the problems could emerge. No. They're just going to let it go, and they'll tinker later. That tinkering may be a lot more than just pulling out the crescent wrench and, giving it a knock and giving it a twist.
Yeah, well, that's that's kind of why I'm pumped to see it. I mean, like we talked about, the returns, the creativity. Who can crack the code? Who can find maybe, a team that's got the right personnel to make it work the right way, right? Are there any rules as far as who can be on the return team's front line there, Mike, as far as anything like that I'm missing or don't know about, right?
Body type,
right?
No,
so you can do whatever, right? So I mean, it's one of those things too where you go, well, maybe the team that's got a surplus in linebackers, right? Kind of guys that are athletic but big and can move in space, and of course they're big and can move people blocking, right? Is there going to be a personnel group or a team that finds a certain way to tinker with that to go, this is tough. I mean, we have a smaller athletic offensive line. So we have those kind of guys that are kind of good in these situations. That's what I'm, really excited to see is that the playing of the personnel and just somebody come up with, like you're talking about, a tush push, crack the code. Wait, we got, 5 or 6 guys that make us a little different in this department than the rest of the league. And, we're dangerous here as far as what we can do because of that. Again, I think those are some of the unintended cool consequences of this whole thing.
I remember last year when they did the change with the fair catch between the goal line and the 25, giving the receiving team possession at the 25. They were talking about the potential for the XFL kickoff, and a head coach told me this is going to be a disaster if they do it because the best kick returners are going to find a hole and be gone on a regular basis. That this cluster of bodies up close, it's like a loose line of scrimmage, as we were saying earlier. You get a running back with good vision, and he's running toward it, and he sees where the opening is, and he just slips through it, and he's gone. You're going to have the best of the best kick returners that are going to make mincemeat of this.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you don't have a second line.
No.
Unless what you do is you immediately retreat.
I think
that's
there's going
what
to be
could
some
happen.
of that. Guys
You're gonna,
fill in and
half
go
your
behind
guys
it.
are going to retreat.
Right. I think that's what they're going to have to play with. I think that's what it could be cool. And then where I also think it's going to be a big part of this play, Mike, thinking about it and talking to people a little bit about it over the last month or so, is the ability of your kicker to place the ball in the box area. Right? You give Tyreek Hill the ball in the middle of the hash, and he's got a two-way go with people that close to him. Like you said, he's going to find a crease, and it's going to be go, cheetah legs, I'll see you later, touchdown. Right? You pin him in a corner, and now you can corral him a little bit. He doesn't have the whole field open to going, oh, I got this gap, that gap, this gap, that gap, right? So that's where your kicker's ability to be accurate and drop the ball in the right place, I think, is another part that's going to be really big in this whole thing.
And what you could do then, if you can put it in a corner, you can take half the players on that 10-man line at the 40 and swing him around and try to pin the guy that way. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.